Are we here? Ah, yes. YouTube is live. Let's make sure that this junky, non-neutral internet connection is doing what it's supposed to. Hello, live chat. All right, seems like we are live. All right, wanted to make sure this thing worked before I started here. So there's this idea when it comes to talking about business, talking about taxes, talking about money, that people who essentially are not running their own business, who are not kind of can tell what people who are running a business would do. Or there's this level of pretend psychic knowledge as if we know exactly what you're going to do if we don't take your money, which is why we need to take your money, which is why we need you to pay more taxes. And the part of this that kind of gets to me is not even the argument for or against trickle-down economics. It's not the argument for what would be done with taxes if the taxes were taken. It's kind of the argument that it's the arrogance from the argument. It's the arrogance that you need to say, no, I know what all businesses would do if they got X, particularly when it goes against objective reality. So here I'm just going to read some tweets from an MSNBC correspondent. Actually, businesses don't hire more people because they make more money. They hire more people only when customers buy their goods, increasing demand, causing them to need more manpower to increase supply. And I couldn't help myself here because I'm reading the statement, which seems like a statement of, guaranteed fact of what all businesses do. Joy Reid knows what all businesses are going to do if they're given more money. Actually, not some businesses, not Kmart, not Walmart, not only large corporations, not only small businesses. She says actually businesses don't hire more people because they make more money. So I said, how about entering a new market that you usually wouldn't if the excess money wasn't there? And I bring up one example for us, like deciding to sell ultrasonic systems to other companies after component level repair excess profit made it possible to enter a new industry. So when I stock 20 or 30 cleaners in the store, that costs me extra money, and that's not something that I would do if I did not have excess money available. And it says they hire people only when more customers buy their goods. But here is an important question. How would I know if customers would buy those goods if I did not have them? How would I know if people are actually going to buy a product until I have it in the store? Because I could send out surveys, I could ask my customers, I could listen to emails that I get, but I've had a lot of people say, hey, it would be great if you did X, and then I start doing X and they don't care. The only way to really tell is to actually get the product or start offering the service. I won't know if I'm going to get business at my pizzeria unless I open up my pizzeria and see who walks through the door. This seems like common sense, but it's not so common to certain, people like MSNBC correspondents. So I said, how about entering a new market? And this is something I've done multiple times. Once screen repair was doing well, I decided, what if we sell screens? Now that what if we sell screens only came along once there was more money, because I would need to have money in order to stock all these different parts. Once the selling screens thing was going well, I thought, what about offering board repair? And again, that's something where I didn't do it, but I dropped 10 or 20 or 30,000. It wound up being $30,000 initially into the concept of offering board repair. That was done with excess money. That's $30,000 that if I did not have, I would not have invested into it. If I didn't invest into it, I would never know that there was room for people from all around the country to send me devices to work on, room for there to be a YouTube channel, room for there to be an Amazon affiliate linking system, room for me to hire people like Paul or Jason, who I got to wake up early tomorrow to make sure that I get their bonuses processed for Christmas, which, by the way, are going to be larger than last year's bonuses because we made more money this year. So someone says, as a corporation, you won't enter a new market without there being a demand for the opportunities in that market. Once again, you would have to invest in marketing to attract demand. With tax cuts like these, the profit accumulated goes towards bonuses. And again, if somebody wants to argue that tax cuts would go towards bonuses for this company, for that company, even for, if they said most companies, that's one thing. But when you say businesses, that is interpreted as all businesses. You're not specifying, you're not saying 99%. Even when you hear me saying a lot of these absolutes, I will say almost all the time, 99.9%, because I always understand that there is that other section. And in my opinion here, it's not 99.9%. I'd say there's a lot of small businesses that when they realize, hey, we got an extra $20,000 or $30,000 this year, they decide, I wonder if it would be worth it to offer this as a service. I wonder if it would be worth it to chase after these types of contracts and spend money on that. So I said investing in marketing for me was putting a product on the homepage of a site and making a YouTube video. This is not 1972. My point here is that, when he says that you have to invest in marketing to attract demand, we are not living in the days of Mad Men. If you have a $170 Moto G, hell, if you have a blue phone, you can advertise yourself on social media. A blue phone with a $40 data plan a month allows you to get on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these other platforms, YouTube, and record stuff in high quality and upload it and engage with your audience and hashtag and post things on Instagram with hashtags related to your business. Marketing does not need to be expensive nowadays. So Joy comes back with what she believes to be a very good comeback, saying she thinks that she got me, she caught me. She says, in other words, you don't need to hire someone to do the expansion you're describing. So any extra money you get from tax breaks produces 0 jobs by your own count. This is something that I actually thought was a joke until I realized that she thought that this was a gotcha, that this was serious. To which I respond, to say businesses don't hire people because they make more, I said to say businesses don't hire people because they make more money is not true. It's to say it's not true that I hired someone to help me expand it to a new field with my excess profit, which is a denial of my entire business. Why deny this? Just to make a point. And one of the things that I said is I discussed marketing. To say that it creates no jobs by my own admission is implying that there is nothing to business, no jobs to be created besides marketing. So if I say that you don't need to hire a marketing person to do marketing, but for a new business, and she says that means that you're not creating jobs, that's saying that I don't have a technician. That's saying I don't have a shipping person. That's saying that I don't need a salesperson. That's saying that I don't need a merchandiser. That's saying that I don't need a creative designer. That's saying that I don't need to hire a construction person. That's saying that I don't need to hire someone to install security cameras. That's saying I don't need to hire someone to install access control systems. The level of stupidity in that statement is so much that it's so profound that it needs to be driven home more than once. If I say that I don't need to hire a marketing person to enter a new vertical, and you say, well, that means that you're not creating jobs, you are assuming that my business is entirely marketing, that there is nothing else to business but marketing, that the only job that I could possibly create is marketing. And how someone who has a degree from Harvard, how someone who is a correspondent for MSNBC, which, by the way, if you wonder why people call them fake news, hey, these people are commentators there, to how someone could graduate from Harvard and make that statement in public is beyond me, but they can. And, I said, example, offering component level data recovery. Drive Savers does this for $2,000 to $20,000. We do it for $200 to $400, and thus open up the service to a new market of people who previously couldn't afford it. But this requires a $20,000 to $30,000 investment in tools. Making that investment creates jobs. I pay the people that make that these jobs were created from. I pay the people whose jobs were created from this, so I know that it creates jobs because I see the check coming out of my bank account every week. I guess the thing that bothers me the most about this, at least when it comes to the particular left-right divide, is, we live in a time where to deny, how do I put this? With Bill C-16, with a lot of the hate speech laws, with a lot of what's going on college campuses, with what's going on at Laurier, we live in a time where, from the left's point of view, to deny someone's subjective reality, if someone is born chromosomally a boy and you accidentally screw up and refer to them as a girl, that is beyond comprehension. That is hate speech. That must be corrected. So for me to deny someone else's subjective reality is hate. But for someone else to deny my objective reality by saying businesses would not do this, when I am actually doing that, they can deny my objective reality. They can deny the QuickBooks graph that shows Lewis has more money in his bank account, Lewis hires more people. Lewis pays less in taxes, Lewis hires more people. To deny this objective reality is absolutely fine. But to deny subjective reality is totally wrong. I don't get it. And you know what? On the subjective thing, I don't even care. Call yourself what you want. I'll call you what you want. I'll respect you. I don't care. That's no big deal to me. It doesn't bother me one bit. But why do you got to go and deny my objective reality? Because that's the thing that's kind of a slap in the face. That's why I'm saying I'm not even here to defend trickle-down economics. I'm not here to say that if Walmart gets to keep more money, I know that maybe they're probably not going to hire more people. I'm not making that argument for everybody else. All I'm asking is don't apply these arguments to all businesses. Don't apply your label, your worldview on how people... See, even my cat's pissed off. Don't apply your worldview on how business owners are going to operate their business to all businesses. Don't put all businesses into this collective. Because you bet your ass that if I wind up getting more money in my bank account as a result of this tax plan, you bet your ass that I'm spending it on a new job. I talked about this about 2 or 3 videos ago in the public school video where I showed you that I recently learned that there are lots of public schools with thousands and thousands of $1,000 MacBooks. And when they break, what they're doing is they're sending them to people who will heat gun them. No, fuck that. That is not happening in 2018. No, no. So one of the things that I wanted to do was find someone who would be a good salesperson who could help us get these types of public sector contracts that we were not getting before. So that rather than them go to a franchise that is then going to use a blow dryer on a machine, they could come to us, they would pay slightly less money, they would get back devices that work instead of devices that are useless. And here, this is not like taking money, and this is the other thing that gets talked about when we talk about tax plans. This is not one of these things where you're taking money from one person and giving it to another. This is not some dog-eat-dog zero-sum game. I get money, they get back a device that would have otherwise literally been garbage that someone gets to use. This is a win-win for both sides. And it also shows that there is this fundamental lack of understanding of how jobs are created. It shows a fundamental lack of understanding of how the economy works. It shows a fundamental lack of understanding in this idea that money being in the hands of a business is worse than it being in the hands of a government. If it's in the hands of a person who I've made a new job for, great. If it's in the hands of a vendor that I've paid for more goods, great. Hell, if I put it in the bank and the bank loans that money out to somebody, you know what? I think it's better off there than it is going to, give millions of dollars of weapons to rebels next to Syria. Call me crazy, but this is it's so. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see what you all have to say in chat. That's what my cat has to say. Yeah, the kitty wants some attention. Come here. And there's this other idea that, people, they're not going to hire people because they're greedy and they want the money for themselves. They're not going to hire people because they want to, they want more money. And I don't understand this. I mean, who is not hiring people because they want more money? I mean, do you see Jeff Bezos sitting in a shipping room with a tape gun packaging boxes because he doesn't want to pay somebody because he wants more money? Do you see the Walmart CEO stocking shelves at his local Walmart because he wants more? No, I hire people to make more money. Jason is better at cell phone data recovery than I am. Paul is better at motherboard repair than I am. Steve is a better salesperson than I am. Vinier is better at doing retina screens and keyboards and whatnot than I am. And hopefully whoever I hire later is better at getting school contracts and other business contracts than I am. The whole point of hiring somebody is because I am greedy. The whole point, if you're an employee and you're doing your job, if you get paid $20 an hour, you get paid $30 an hour, you should be generating for your company somewhere between $80 to $100 an hour. That's your job as the employee. And the employer's job is to ensure that the system exists that allows you to turn your labor into something worth money. So if I am paying someone $25 an hour and they show up to work and they cannot generate more than $25 an hour, there's one of two problems. A, they're not qualified, or B, they are qualified, but I as an employer have failed so badly that the environment that I've put them in is not creating them anything. So, one of the examples. So I have done the marketing, I have done the work on the reputation, I have done the work on pricing, I've done the work on building a business, so that every day when people come to work here, there is a nonstop stream of phone calls of people wanting to give us business. There's a nonstop set of boxes coming in from UPS, DHL, FedEx, and the post office and local courier services with devices. If you walk into our store, you'll see right next to the little cabinet heater thing we have where the receptionist sits, you'll see a pile of boxes that never goes away because as soon as we check them in, there's more there. That is my job, and then it's my job as the business owner to ensure that there's not just the training so that you can kind of learn how to take your work and turn it into something profitable and productive, but also the tools there so that you can actually get the job done. So it's my job to ensure that I create an environment where somebody can take their labor and turn it into something that's productive, and it's their job to do, it's their job to come and work in a qualified manner. It's not this type of thing where I am hiring people out of the goodness of my heart. Granted, it's nice to be able to hire somebody. It's particularly nice to be able to hire somebody that was being taken advantage of by their old boss or somebody that's down on their luck. That's great. But at the end of the day, I'm hiring somebody because they're there to make me money. It's not like this idea that, it's greed. Yeah, you know what? I could pay myself a short-term bonus right now with the money that I keep if I don't hire somebody. So I could pay myself, let's say, a bonus of $3,000 or $5,000 now, or I could hire somebody and over the course of a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, I could have an extra $50,000 to $500,000 in profit. And most people who run successful businesses do the latter. They realize that if I hire someone, rather than give myself that quick $2,000 bonus, I can use that to get ahead, or I can use that to move into a new field, or I can use that to get momentum started in a new field. And this is one of the things I don't think people understand. I don't think people understand just how money crunched a lot of small businesses are. I would have loved to have spent $2,000 on a Sony camera and a microscope camera in 2011. I would have loved to have gotten into the screen business or selling wholesale screens in 2008 or 9 instead of 10. I would have loved to have a store in 2010 instead of 2012. But the reality is that expanding or moving to the next level, it really is often based on these decisions of just a little bit of extra money. If I need $3,000 to make it to the end of the month, and instead of having $3,000, I have $6,000, the first thing going off in my head is, what could I invest in that I didn't invest in before, now that I have that extra $3,000? And if that $3,000 is the difference between me offering a new service that allows me to make another $100,000 a year, well, that's $3,000 that it's great that I have, because it's not just 3,000. That's 103,000. It's the 3,000 that I get to keep, that I can invest, and then it's the $100,000 that I make each year that I wouldn't have made if I didn't make that $3,000 investment. And as someone who has been there, who has had to make those decisions, whether it was with $100, $1,000, $10,000, or $30,000, I've been there where I had to make those decisions, where I know just how much of a difference it made in the lives of myself and of the employees that I probably wouldn't have hired if I didn't have that extra money. I know the difference that money can make. So when someone says, no, it doesn't make a difference, yes, it does. You're denying the existence of the people that I've hired. You're denying the existence of my business. You're denying the existence of the money that I used to buy this microphone that I'm even using to talk about this on YouTube. And as I said, we live in this time where it's completely, it's completely awful to deny someone subjective reality. But it's totally okay to deny other people's objective reality. I'm going to read some of your comments, and then I'm going to be out of here, because I have a cat that really wants me to pay attention to him, and if I don't pay attention to him, he's going to be sad. It seems the cat has some opinions on a free market. Do you, Mr. Clinton? Come here, boy. Amazon warehouse jobs are pretty much slaves. People collapse on the job. Bathroom breaks are timed. That does sound sad. And again, if he was one of those people that would do these things, I get it. All I'm saying is don't apply it to all businesses. Small business does not create that many jobs. Its impact is minimal. Well, let's see. How much of employment in America is small business? According to the Census Bureau and the Small Business Administration, about 60 million Americans worked for small businesses in 2006. Small business does not create many jobs, but 60 million Americans work for small businesses. I don't know, 60 million is quite a few. I'd say 60 million is a good number. Do you think a lot of rich people say they are liberal when they are only trying to deflect? No, here's one of the interesting things I find when it comes to people who are openly, unapologetically liberal in the manner that who are, let's say, incredibly rich, who were saying that if you're not liberal, you're terrible. I find that there are a lot of people who are very liberal when it comes to immigration, but those same individuals they back away from being a liberal when asked about regulations and unions. So, you don't like unions, you don't like regulations, but you like immigration. I wonder why. And that's one of the I would call that a fake Democrat. And there's also a lot of fake Republicans as well. There are people that take the side that benefits them with a party, and then they try to wash away the other part of. And you can, it's obvious. You want a bunch of low-wage workers so that you can make more money for your business. If you want to take one bite of the pie, I think you kind of have to bite into a little bit more of it than that. But you spelled companies wrong. I sure did, bro. I sure did. What, you being like that Mike guy that was picking on Tim Herman? You gonna pick on me for my spelling at 1 in the morning? Not all companies want to go into a new market and things alike. I wonder if it's because they don't have more money. I just find it interesting that a really high number of corporate Democrats are really into open borders, really against regulations, and really against unions. I just find that particularly interesting that that seems to be a pattern across the board. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of fake Republicans, fake corporate Republicans that take the parts that are convenient to them and hate the parts that are not convenient for them. You have to be able to notice these things. All right. Qualcomm is pumping lots of money into R&D. That will bring much better returns than hiring people. Well, you have to think about this. What will the results of their R&D be? Well, firstly, when you're paying for research and development, there are costs involved, but what are those costs for? What are the costs of research and development? What is it that you're paying? Is this going to contribute to the economy in some way? Or, people act as if it's just literally taking money and lighting it on fire. You have to pay people to do research and development. You have to pay for stuff for research and development. You have to pay for devices to do research and development, particularly on their level, especially with fabrication and whatnot. Secondly, you don't know what the result of that market is going to be. If they manage to create device, you never know what they're going to make. If they manage to create a device that lets you smell through your computer or whatever, you never know. Anyway. All right, time to get out of here. My cat is staring at me, and he seems very sad that I'm talking into a YouTube rather than talking to him, so that's it for tonight. As always, I hope you learned something, and also, by the way, just in case it wasn't very crystal clear from the last video, please don't spend $900 on a thermal camera. Please, 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 it is not worth it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.